The New London Naval Submarine Base, New London, is located on the Thames River in the Groton, Connecticut area. The Thames River opens into the New London Harbor in the Long Island Sound. The history of the base dates back to a land grant of 112 acres made by Connecticut to the U.S. Navy in 1868. 4 years later, the earliest version of the base was built as a naval yard. At first, the base was largely used as a coaling station for naval ships stationed in the Atlantic. It became a submarine base in 1916, housing the Ozark, 4 submarines, and a submarine tender, a ship that supports submarines carrying supplies that it then delivers to the submarine. After World War I, training and education facilities were established on the base as well. In 1954, the USS Nautilus, the nation's first nuclear-powered submarine, took off from the base. Today, this submarine can be viewed by the public as a National Historic Landmark. By 1959, the base had emerged as the world's largest submarine base. The U.S. Navy trains all of its submariners on the New London Naval Submarine Base, New London. 21 submarines and nuclear research submarines are housed at this base. In its current form, the base covers 680 acres and consists of more than 400 buildings. Over 20,000 active duty soldiers, civilian employees, and their families can be accommodated in the base's housing facilities. Commands stationed on the base include the Commander Submarine Group 2 and the Naval Submarine Support Facility. In 2005, the Department of Defense recommended that the Naval Submarine Base, New London, be closed as part of a wave of base closings. However, upon review, this recommendation was reversed and the base remains open today. Asbestos was widely used at the base, as it was in many shipbuilding facilities and industrial sites. A naturally occurring mineral, asbestos has cloth-like qualities and is resistant to both fire and heat. These characteristics and versatility led to its popularity in many industrial processes. Asbestos exposure occurs when particles or fibers of asbestos become airborne and are inhaled or swallowed. These fibers then lodge in an individual's body, in the lungs or the abdomen, and 15 to 50 years after exposure can lead to respiratory conditions including lung cancer, mesothelioma, asbestosis, and pleural effusions. Asbestos exposure is considered the leading cause of mesothelioma, an aggressive form of cancer that grows on the mesothelium, a membrane which encloses many of the body's internal organs, including the lungs. There are several types of mesothelioma. Pleural mesothelioma, which affects the chest wall, peritoneal mesothelioma, which affects the abdominal lining, pericardial mesothelioma, which is rarer and affects the sac surrounding the heart, and tunica vaginalis mesothelioma, which is quite rare and affects the tissue surrounding the testes in males. Mesothelioma can be treated with radiation therapy, chemotherapy, surgery, or experimental therapies such as immunotherapy. While these treatments may slow the progression of the disease and ease symptoms, they are not considered curative. According to records kept by the U.S. Navy, over 289 products that contained asbestos were commonly used in the shipbuilding process. Although the significant risk of asbestos exposure were known by the 1920s, most industries and employers, including the U.S. Navy, either withheld this information or were slow to act on it. The U.S. Navy imposed a ban on asbestos usage in 1973, but continued to use the substance for several years after this date. Most uses of asbestos were banned by the Environmental Protection Agency in 1989.
Let's do that sentence with usage.
With what?
The U.S. Navy imposed a ban.
Okay. The U.S. Navy imposed a ban on asbestos usage in 1973, but continued to use the substance for several years after this date. Most uses of asbestos were banned by the Environmental Protection Agency in 1989. Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information.
Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.net, to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.net. Information and help for patients and families.